Hey guys, it's Konpeki here, and today's video is going to be all about off angles. So you guys are probably familiar with the term common angles, and they're basically angles and positions that you're used to peeking and holding from, because players commonly peek and hold those angles. However, for off angles, they're the complete opposite of that. They're angles that players peek and hold from less commonly. Okay, so maybe it could be like out in the open a bit in mound, and another example might be over here on B main, where a defender might push out a little bit here and play behind this box. And when attackers try to come B, they might not expect the player to be hiding behind this box, and that would be considered an off angle. So that means theoretically, if you memorize all the good off angles in every single map in the game, I should be able to die less and get more kills, right? No, that's wrong, okay? Because what determines an angle to be considered an off angle is all about probability. So if there's less of a chance for a player to be pre-aiming a spot when they peek, that would be considered an off angle. So if your quote unquote off angle is predictable for your opponents, it's not going to be an off angle anymore. So therefore, the more unpredictable an angle is, the stronger the off angle would be. Using this example right here, again, if I play behind this box every single time and I've gotten away with it once or maybe even twice, well, hopefully by now the enemy team would have learned and try to adapt, and maybe they'll start spamming this box and you might die. Or they'll try to drone you out, throw a nade, or blind you behind this box, and you're not going to be able to do anything with it, okay? So the power of off angles really comes down to probability and how unpredictable you can make your positioning. Okay, now that you understand how really good off angles just comes down to probability and predictability, I'm going to teach you guys 4 advanced ways to create situational on-the-fly off angles. Okay, and these are things that I teach inside my private 10-week coaching program to help players like Shinjin, who's literally 12 years old, go from Diamond 1 to Immortal 1 in just 33 days. And we're really confident in our coaching, so if you don't gain 500 RR in 10 weeks, we'll give you a complete full refund. The first call to see if we'd be a good fit is completely free, so use the link in the description to book your call. Okay, so the first way to create situational on-the-fly off angles is from conditioning. Okay, so if you condition the other team to know that, let's say you don't often fight for this mound space, and let's say like you peek here, okay, you peek here, you run away. If you have another teammate now with you who actually pushes out mound, there's a good chance that they're not going to expect the second player to be there, because most of the time you've conditioned them to where you peek, you leave, and you just leave mound completely open. Okay, or maybe the teammate can even like push out here and play behind this box, and they're not going to anticipate that. Another example would be, let's say on A. Okay, let's say we've been trying to fight for A, but we just don't have enough utility compared to the other team to be fighting this, and so we've just been kind of like playing off site and playing retake with the team. Okay, so if you've conditioned them to know that your team likes to play for retake, well then what if you actually decided to play this cheeky off angle now on site, where they don't expect you to be here since you're technically exposed to tree, but as long as tree hasn't been opened yet, and let's say you're playing a character like Jet who has an escape tool, or even like your Cypher or a controller, just someone who could place down smokes really quickly here to isolate this fight, then when people are rushing in, because they're so used to you guys playing off site and playing retake, they might just look here, pre-aim these positions, look up heaven, but while they're clearing heaven, or maybe this is smoked off, but maybe they're just holding back sight, and as they're coming out, you're now out in the open, ready to shoot them in the back. Okay, so that's a way where you can use conditioning to create good off angle situations. Like let's say you've been opping or you've been fighting A main a lot from this corner. Okay, please, like if you are going to play this corner, this ties into like the calm aim video, but this is a very like easy pre-aim position, very common for people to shoot you from as soon as they swing. But let's just say that you've been making this mistake, or you've just been jump peeking, jiggle peeking it, maybe just like pre-firing a bit, okay, and just leaving backside. If you don't peek there in the beginning, they might not expect you to even be playing on A, but maybe you pull out an op now and you're playing this off angle, okay, or maybe you're playing up here, okay. But after you get this pick, you just can't play this angle anymore, because now in future rounds they're going to expect you to be playing these off angles. All right, Now, the second way that you can create situational on-the-fly off angles is through playing high-low setups. Let's say you're attacking and you planted the bomb somewhere on B, and you know that the defender, let's say, flanked all the way through C, and let's say your teammate actually died B main, so you know that the last alive defender is coming in from the left side of B main. Okay, so what you can do is tell your teammate, hey, like, let's play high-low, and granted, let's say like they don't have flashes or something that makes it dangerous for you guys to play out on the open. Okay, the person on top should look slightly below. Okay, like, don't just completely look below, but just take a quick glance even at the player underneath them and make sure you're perfectly aligned. Okay, because obviously the person that's below it's much harder for them to like turn around and see exactly if we're holding the same line of sight. And the idea behind high-low setups is really simple. If the enemy is actually peeking you, and let's say you're playing high-low, there's just no way for their crosshair to be at two places at the same time, at enemies that are looking at them. Okay, so either way, even if they are pre-aimed at one person, it's still going to be an off angle, let's say, for the person playing on top if they're aiming below. So that's another way to create situational off angles. Yeah, and there are plenty of other examples too. Like, let's say you're holding C, maybe you have someone like playing on top of this box and someone playing directly underneath it to throw off people's crosshair placement as well. Now, the third way to create situational on-the-fly off angles is through timing advantages and specifically lurks. If I know that enemies like to fast rotate off of A, especially after our teammates make a bunch of noise on C, let's just say that I'm able to walk up all the way here onto A, okay? And if I go stairs, let's say, and your teammates cut noise and the enemies now know, oh shoot, like they're not committing C, we have to go back A, you might be able to get a timing right here. And if you just, let's say, hold from this angle right here, if enemies are smart and they're aware that people could have now lurked up A, they might instantly pre-aim this corner as they're rotating. Okay, so what you want to do instead is, if you can play even slightly wider, okay, and hold that angle, there's a good chance they might not be looking at you. Or let's just say you actually end up getting a pick onto A and there's a player that you caught like rotating towards C. Then what you can do is actually like dash up and try to get a timing advantage. So as long as people don't expect you to already be there, that's in and of itself a situational off angle, right? Another example could be like, let's say you guys are all executing on A and you manage to get like a quick two kills on A, okay? And after you've done that, maybe you quickly updraft and try to get the guy that's rotating from C in their spawn. These are easy things that you can do on characters like Jet, Raze, just people that can take a lot of space quickly. And again, like if people aren't expecting you to be here, then that's an off angle. All right, and the fourth and final way for you guys to be able to create on the fly situational off angles is through smokes and playing around smokes. So let's say, for instance, that I am playing Omen on C. Okay, if I just do a standard smoke that's flush, sure, like as people run out, there's a lot of different angles where they have to look out for as they're coming out. Okay, and it's going to be harder for people to pre-aim. But what you can also do, let's say, is, people are rushing you, then you can throw a quick smoke and they might actually run into the smoke eager to kill you because they just saw you peeking and they might think that you're just running away. And you could even just make noise to try to like bait out that you're running. But then you might just sit in here and go back in here with a judge and try to kill them. And that's a situational off angle, okay? Another one might be, let's say like you throw a one-way here and you might even like try to TP in the smoke. They might not expect you. You can throw a blind and try to kill anyone coming out front sight. And then it also becomes a little one-way for players that are actually pushed up bend and stairs. It's gonna look like this from their POV. Okay, like they're not gonna be able to see you as much as opposed to you having fought front sight, and then you can kind of back up and see their feet. Alright guys, so hopefully this video was able to clarify a few things on off angles, and so next time you play off angles and it doesn't seem like it works in game, hopefully you can think back to some of the concepts I covered. And if you also have more questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below so I can answer them for you guys in the next unscripted videos. And again, follow my second channel where more of these videos will be posted along with VODs of different office hours that I do inside of my paid community, which is IRP Lite, and you can check that out with the second link in the description, and you can join for literally less than $1 a day. Alrighty guys, thanks for watching.